Okay, let's unpack this. I want to start with a concept that it feels completely backwards.
Uh-huh.
But I think it's something we've all felt, at 3 in the morning when we're overthinking everything.
Right.
In our jobs, in social circles, we are just obsessed with being competent. We want to be strong, polished, bulletproof.
It's how we're wired. We're taught to hide any weakness.
Exactly. But the material you sent over, it asks this really weird question. What if your biggest asset isn't your strength at all?
What if it's the opposite?
Yeah. What if the thing that actually saves you is your ability to be, well, a little bit pathetic?
It's a paradox, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because evolutionarily, the weak one gets eaten.
Yeah.
Socially, the weak one gets left behind.
Right. But today, we're diving into a source that just flicks that whole idea on its head.
Completely.
We're looking at a fable called The Pride of Sultan and the Heart of Daru.
And you have to look past the genre.
Oh, you really do? Because on the surface, okay, it's a talking horse and a deer. It feels like a children's story.
But it's not. It's actually a masterclass on social hierarchy, on transactional power.
And my favorite part, the strategic weaponization of just being awkward.
It's deceptively simple. It lures you in with this sort of bedtime story feel.
Whispering trees, green valleys.
But it's really dissecting class structure with a scalpel. It asks what happens when the have-nots suddenly hold the key to the survival of the haves.
And the answer involves what is, I think, maybe the worst joke ever told.
It is truly terrible.
I actually groaned when I read it. So we are going to get to that joke and to a defense strategy involving a forest ghost, it's a lot.
But first, let's set the scene.
Yes, we're in this wide green valley, tall mountains. It looks like a paradise.
But it's a gated paradise
Mm-hmm.
with a very strict social ladder.
Exactly. So our mission today is to break down the relationship between the two main players here. We have the guy who has everything.
And the guy who has absolutely nothing.
Let's start with the have-not. Let's talk about Doru.
Doru is our protagonist.
Mm.
And the text goes to great lengths to make you feel his total lack of agency.
He's a deer, but he's described as thin, shy, and always hungry.
And the physical details are key. His legs are long, but they're weak. His fur is dull. This is not some majestic stag.
No, this is an animal that is just barely scraping by.
There's that one line that really gets me. He walks, counting every step as if the ground might just disappear.
That's not just physical weakness, that's deep psychological anxiety.
It's the embodiment of a scarcity mindset. He's an orphan, lost his parents in a long winter, so he has no safety net.
He wakes up before sunrise, not because he's some go-getter, but just to beat the stronger animals to the grass.
Right. His entire existence is defined by fear and invisibility. He wants to take up as little space as possible.
Which brings us to his foil, the character living in a completely different universe.
Sultan.
Enter Sultan.
They have. He's a horse. And if Daru is scarcity, Sultan is just pure excess. The text says his coat looks like polished chocolate.
I love that. Polished chocolate. It's so specific. It implies he's not just fed, he's groomed, he's manufactured.
He's a luxury item. Mane-like silk, warm, stable, and his diet isn't just grass. It's apples, carrots, sugar cubes.
He's never known a day of hunger.
And that abundance shapes his personality.
Mm.
He doesn't just enjoy his life, he performs it. He stands by the fence so others can admire him.
He feeds on the attention. The cows whisper, "What a handsome horse," and he just soaks it up.
It's pure ego, but it's also fragile. His value is all external. He needs that visibility to feel valid, whereas Doru needs invisibility to survive.
So we have these two completely separate worlds, and normally they would never interact.
No, they're in different stratospheres.
But the story forces a collision. It's a dry afternoon, and Doru is desperate.
And desperation, it breaks boundaries. The text says his stomach growled so loudly that butterflies flew away in fear.
Which is a funny image, but also so sad. It just hammers home how empty he is.
And it forces him to the farm fence. He just wants one bite of that lush grass.
And that's when Sultan catches him. And you'd expect, what, indifference? Go away, pest!
But what we get is so much nastier.
It's bullying. Plain and simple. He doesn't just chase him off, he mocks him. He claims the grass is basically mine.
It's a territorial display, but listen to the insults. Skinny legs. He tells Doru, "You look like hunger itself."
He's weaponizing his own privilege against someone who's suffering. It's classic punching down.
Right, to reinforce his own status. He feels bigger by making Doru feel smaller.
But then the dynamic shifts. Sultan doesn't just kick him out. He offers a deal.
If you can make me laugh, I'll let you eat a little.
Why? Why does he do that?
Boredom. It's the curse of the comfortable. He has food, safety, but no stimulation. He's lonely.
He sees Doru as entertainment.
It's completely transactional. He's saying, I will trade my excess resources for your dignity.
Dance for your dinner. That is dark.
It's humiliating. Doru isn't a performer. But hunger makes you brave. So he agrees. He sells his dignity for calories.
And this leads us to the performance, the joke. And I have to read this exactly because it's so painful.
Okay.
Doru steps up, shaking, and asks, "Why did the squirrel cross the road?"
And Sultan's waiting, expecting some clever punchline.
And Doru says, because he forgot where he buried his nuts.
Oh, the silence. You can feel the awkwardness right through the page.
It's an anti-joke. It's just a fact about squirrels.
It is objectively not funny.
But Sultan just loses it. He bursts out laughing.
Right.
But, and this is the key part, he's not laughing with Doru, is he?
No, absolutely not. He's laughing at him. The text says he calls it terrible and absolutely horrible.
He's laughing at the incompetence. It validates his superiority. Look at this silly little creature.
It's the king laughing at the jester who trips. It makes the king feel secure.
But a deal's a deal. Doru gets the grass, and this opens a door. They start talking.
And Sultan is still so arrogant. He says, you may consider your life improved now that you
This
have.
is incredible.
But it becomes a routine. Doru keeps coming back. He keeps paying for his food with entertainment.
Right, since he can't tell jokes, it becomes physical comedy.
Slapstick. He trips over his own legs, sneezes himself into a bush.
And Sultan loves it. He laughs until he cries. It still feels pretty exploitative.
It is at first. But something else is happening. Sultan starts kicking leftover apples to him. And in between the pratfalls, they actually talk.
So is this a friendship, or is it still just a transaction?
It starts as a transaction, no doubt. But proximity creates connection. Sultan is lonely.
Right.
The cows and goats are his audience, not his friends.
You don't have conversations with fans.
Exactly. Doru is the first creature to actually engage with him. So even though the dynamic is unequal, it's the most real relationship Sultan has.
It's a bond built on a very weird foundation.
A foundation that's about to be tested.
Right, because we're moving from a sitcom setup to a thriller, The Crisis.
The tone shifts violently. Dark clouds. And the farmer brings loud men with ropes.
This is the reality check. Sultan has spent his life thinking he's the main character. He's special.
But the farmer just points and says 4 words. Strong horse. Good price.
In that moment, he becomes a commodity, a product. He's just inventory.
And all that arrogance just evaporates. He panics. He sees his fans, the goats and cows. Can't help him.
So he turns to Doru and begs, "They're taking me. Do something."
Which is completely absurd if you think about it. He's asking this weak, skinny deer to fight off grown men.
It's pure desperation, and Doru freezes. What can he possibly do?
But the text gives us his inner thoughts. He looks at Sultan, and he doesn't see the bully anymore. He remembers the apples. He remembers the laughter.
That's the pivot. The relationship supersedes the hierarchy.
He decides, I won't let them take you. But he can't use strength. He doesn't have any.
So he has to use what he does have.
Which brings us to the forest ghost.
The Forest Ghost. It's maybe the strangest rescue mission I've ever read.
He tells Sultan his plan is to pretend to be a monster. And Sultan's just looking at him like he's lost his mind.
You look like a twig.
But Doru commits. He really commits to the bit.
He jumps out of the bushes, shaking his little legs, and he screams, and the dialogue is perfect. He yells,
Where I am, the forest ghost deer.
That is doing so much work there. He forgets his own persona mid-sentence.
It's a complete disaster. And then he slips on the mud, rolls over, and crashes right into a water bucket. Splash.
A total mess. Now, in a normal story, this is where the hero finds his inner strength and scares them away.
But that is not what happens here.
No, the text completely subverts that. The men aren't scared, they're just confused.
One of them asks, is that deer dancing?
And they just conclude the deer is crazy, this deer is insane. And the situation is so weird, so disruptive, they just leave.
They walk away from the deal, and this is the part I want to drill into. They don't leave because of danger.
No.
They leave because the vibe is off.
It's disruption by absurdity. They came for a clean business transaction. This chaotic, wet, screaming deer introduced so much entropy into the situation. It wasn't worth the hassle. Its strategic awkwardness, the very incompetence Sultan mocked him for, is what saved his life.
Exactly. If Doru had tried to be strong, they would just kicked him aside.
But you can't fight weird, you just remove yourself from it.
Strength is what made Sultan a target in the first place. Doru's weakness, his clumsiness, it broke the whole transaction. It made the situation unmarketable.
So the men drive off, and there's this silence. Sultan is just staring at Doru.
And Doru, still dripping wet, just says, I guess being funny helps.
And that's it. That's the death of the old hierarchy. You can't look down on someone who just made a complete fool of themselves to save your life.
It's a vulnerability Sultan didn't even know existed.
So how does their day-to-day change after that? It has to.
It's a complete overhaul. Sultan becomes kinder, the pride is gone, he shares food without demanding a joke. It's communal now.
It's not a transaction anymore.
And he defends Doru from other animals. He uses his strength to protect the weakness that saved him.
There's that line where a cow asks about Doru, and Sultan just says, he's my best friend.
And for Doru, the change is internal. He stops counting his steps. He's not poor anymore, not because he has things, but because he has an ally. He has safety.
The story wraps up with these 3 morals. First, the poorest one can have the richest heart. Second, laughter is stronger than strength.
That's the one. That's the core of it.
And third, family can be a deer and a horse.
That laughter is stronger than strength. We spend so much time building these walls of competence, but laughter, or just not taking yourself so seriously, it's a real survival tool. It disarms people.
It makes you rethink the value of perfection. We all strive to be Sultan with the polished coat and the admiration, but perfection makes you a commodity.
Right. There are 1,000 strong horses, but there's only one forest ghost.
A generic strong horse gets sold. A dancing, clumsy deer friend, that is irreplaceable.
And unique.
So to recap our journey, we started with a rigid class system. We saw a transactional relationship born from cruelty. We saw the fragility of status.
And then we saw a rescue mission that succeeded not through power, but through the sheer weaponization of awkwardness.
It's a perfect arc. It tells us that our flaws, our weirdness, the things we try to hide, they might be the only things that can save us when the rules change.
When logic fails, sometimes you just need a little chaos.
Which brings us to the end of this deep dive. And I want to leave you with a thought for this week, something to mull over.
Okay.
We all have a bit of Sultan in us. We want to look good, be admired. And we all have a bit of Doru. We feel insecure, awkward, like we're stumbling. And we usually try to hide the Doru side. We think it's a liability. But in this story, being impressive is what almost got Sultan sold off.
It was the willingness to look foolish that saved the day.
So look at your own life. Is there a weakness you're hiding? A quirk, a clumsiness, a weird sense of humor? Ask yourself, is that really a weakness?
Or is it a defense mechanism you just haven't figured out how to use yet?
Maybe, just maybe, you're a forest ghost and you don't even know it.
Embrace the awkward. It might just save your life.
Thanks for diving in with us. We'll see you next time.